Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I'm Hopie Gomez, and this is Teresa Arvizu. Teresa and I work together on preparing the curriculum for you for this summer. And we have, I think, a lot of good information for you. So we have here 2nd through 8th grade, right? Where are my 2nd grade teachers? Second? Second? Okay, combined. 3rd, 4th, 5th. There's a lot of combos in the summertime. 6th, and then 7th and 8th. Okay, perfect. Okay, our agenda today, we are going to work with informational text through electricity. Electricity and magnets are going to be our theme. So we're going to be having a lot of fun with the science. And we're going to do writing with informational text. It's a 20-day program. All the districts are a little bit different. So, you know, it's just 20 days. Some of them go 4 days, some of them go 5 days. We're going to talk about fluency. Fluency is one of the components. Teacher-created material lessons, that is the program that's created by teacher-created, and it is the electricity component. And math through AIMS. Readers, theater, poetry, we have like 15 minutes a day of that. And then we have the writing component that is kind of reciprocal of the reading, okay? So that's where we're going. You have your daily flow laid out like this. You have your lesson plans 1 through 20. You do not have your lesson plans in front of you right now because the way it's going to work is that the resource teachers are getting a thumb drive or a zip drive or whatever they call it these days. And then those teachers, the resource teachers, they're going to get them to you, the lesson plans and everything, okay? Because sometimes you know, like we've copied and we've gotten you 1st grade, and then when things are changed around, you're 2nd grade, so now you have 1st grade lesson plan, not 2nd grade. And so we thought it'd be easier if it's more unique to your campus. Okay? Does that make sense? So your daily flow starts off like this, and you have the fluency. We're going to go through, I don't know, you guys who don't know me, I like to start whole, and then we go into the parts, and then whole, okay? So this is where we're going. This is what your day looks like. And so you have a copy of the day 1. Did you already give them these? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is what your day 1. This one says lesson day 1, okay? So this is just so you get the gist of how the day is going to flow for you. Okay, so you have like 5 minutes in the morning to take attendance. Then the lesson, it's at the top it has the day. So we're just going 1 through 20. We're not writing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just 1 through 20. And then it has the time. Times are approximate because some of you are going to have breaks, lunches, etc. And then the lesson is what you're going to be doing. And then the materials that you're going to need for that lesson are on the side. Okay? So at about 8:05, 15 minutes. So we put, this is going to take, we put the times, but we also put, this is going to take you about 15 minutes. Okay? So if it's not 8:05, but you started later, know that this little fluency part, it's at least 15 minutes. Okay?
And you can edit it on the thumb drive. So if you're going from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock, you can change the times. So you don't have to go in and pencil paper. You can go onto the drive and change anything you need to change.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then so at you're going to go over. We're going to start fluency, and Teresa's going to go over that with you a little bit more. Then we're going to go into lesson 1, okay, which is how is electricity created. That's going to be the first week, and then that'll take about 5 minutes, and then 50 minutes is your lesson for your lesson on electricity, okay, and it tells you there what you're going to be doing. And then you're going to go into the writing. Following the reading, it'll be writing. The writing is 30 minutes before recess and 30 minutes after on the schedule here, okay? Of course, you can adjust it. The reading, the language arts will all be together, okay? Although it's language arts through science, it's still, you know, all together. And we thought that would be easier than splitting it up with math. And then we have math, which is going to take you about 50 minutes. And then at the end of the day, 15 minutes will be, you're going to have in your packet a packet of different poems / readers' theaters that are related to your theme, electricity and magnets. And how you can use that is as a continuation of your fluency. Okay, so students can get up, they can recite them, they can practice still more fluency because you want to show growth on that. Also, it's a part where you're going to practice the listening and speaking. Some of you will have some EL students in there. These are an excellent way to expose them to the reading, and they're easier reads than perhaps the article that you're going to have, okay? And you have a variety of them. You have probably about at least 10, 15 poems. No, you have more than that. Right, Teresa?
It's a bunch.
About 10. You have a bunch. And you can select the one that you want. So it's not like, okay, on day one, everybody has to use poem number 1 poems. Okay, that's not the case. You select them, and a bunch were placed in there for you so that you have that flexibility. Okay? But know that that's at the end of the day.
And just like last year with Reader's Theater, if you want to make your own, if the students want to invent a poem and then use that, that's great. There's more buy-in. So you don't even have to use those that are there. It's just a time to create your own Reader's Theaters if you want, or their own poetry.
Okay, and then there's a lunch break, and then returning back to class to clean up, dismiss. Usually dismissal is at noon, okay? So adjustments will be made by your resource teacher for the schedule. It just goes with, this is kind of according to the minutes, how it'll flow, okay? Any questions on the lesson plan layout? And you will have one for every day, okay, that has all of your information that you need, okay? Right. All right, moving on, fluency. This is 2nd through 7th, 8th, yeah, 8th. We had gone back and forth. 1st grade could use this program as well, and we'll explain it to you when we get to the lesson on how, it's by grade level appropriate or reader readiness. But some of the 1st grade teachers decided that they wanted to use the TKK because that's going to be weather, okay? And that ties in, and it's somewhat, it might be a little bit easier for them. But resource teachers, you have the flexibility of going either way with that. If you want a 1st grade to be with electricity, you can. If you want them to go into the weather with the TKK, that's also doable, okay? So you go either way. All right, fluency procedures. We're using Read Naturally reading passages, which you are going to have.
There is a packet for those of you that have that at your site. If your site is not a Read Naturally district, use the electricity, and we'll show you, use the passages that are here. Otherwise, it's copyright infringement. But if you have it, you have the license, you can make as many copies as you want of the materials. Does that make sense? If you're not sure, go back and ask your tech people or your curriculum person, do we have Read Naturally materials? I'm going to show you what you can substitute if you don't have it. But a lot of our districts are Read Naturally, so that's why under fluency, the passages, I have a packet for each district that goes TK all the way to 8th grade. And I'll give that to the resource teachers. But please, if you're not a Read Naturally district, don't use it. I will show you what else you can use.
Which districts are Read Naturally? Greenfield? Greenfield is, I know, and Lamont. And I know, is it Arvin? Right. Vineland is Read Naturally. So the only one is, right now, that is here is Wasco, that is not Read Naturally. We're going to be looking at word count and improvement on the word count, okay? So whether it's through Read Naturally or through the electricity passages, that's our goal. It's a 4-day step, and Teresa's going to go over here, Teresa, I'll pass those out. Okay. And Teresa's going to go over the steps with you. They're delineated on this, here you go. They're delineated on this paper. All of the steps are here, and it's a 4-day plan, okay?
And again,
so it's a 4-day cycle.
You tweak it to fit the needs of your students and your teachers. So let's go through the steps with an actual passage, but again, you can substitute this passage for something else. So this is on Ladybug, and or ladybird. I always say ladybug.
Who didn't get one on?
So the first day you just show them the passage. And you look at the title, you look at the picture, and then you just have the students ask each other, what do you think this is going to be about?
Do you need an extra one?
What do you think? So before they even start reading, and so have them discuss. The biggest part of what we want students to do, especially since a lot of our students are real students, is that oral practice. They need to rehearse that. Oftentimes we say the first thing we need to do is to teach them to read. If they can't say it, they won't be able to read it. They'll be able to decode it, but not read it. So we have to make sure that they can rehearse that oral practice, the words. So we just ask them, okay, tell your partner, turn to your partner, and just kind of go over, looking at the picture, I think this is going to be about. So if you need to give a frame to the students, give them about 30 seconds. So this is the first day you pass, you give them the paper, just, okay, what do you think it's going to be about and why? That's the big thing, why? Well, I think it's going to be about birds. Why? Well, I see the word bird. Or I think it's going to be about insects. Why? Well, I see a ladybug. Have them speaking. Right now it's not you're right, you're wrong, you're way off track. Just speak and give an explanation. So practice that for just a second, just so that you know how to do that with your students, please. Just turn to somebody. You guys are like middle school kids. Turn to someone. Okay, so then you just go over and you'll see there are vocabulary words right next to or right under. You might say, oh, here's some words we're going to come across. This is how you say the word. This is what it means. Again, just to kind of give them the background before they start reading. So again, that's going to take maybe just a minute, but this is only the first day. So we've gone over what do you think it's going to be about. We've talked about keywords. Now with your same partnership, so now I'm on 4, we're going to administer what's called the cold read. That means they haven't practiced this at all. And you're going to identify who's partner A and who's partner B. So in your partnership, so if you're not sitting next to someone, just for a minute, you can go back to your seats. Sit with someone so you can practice the A-B partnership.
Maybe you can sit over here, and or you can come up.
Let's see, so we have two,
Here.
somebody be A and B. We need one here.
Yeah.
Okay, partner A listens and marks
Who's
partner
partner A?
B's paper. So partner A should be the only one that has a
A?
pencil right now, or a pen, or a highlighter, whatever you decide. Right, the other one doesn't, okay? And you see you're marking partner B's paper. So you don't have your own paper right now, you have the other person's paper. And with a timer, I'm
have
just going to
his
say go. And this is what you need to decide at your district. Are you going to be marking incorrect words? And some people are like, well, how does the other person know it's incorrect? But you have to decide. Or are you just going to go over, they sounded out this many words? That's a decision you have to make at your site. But make sure everyone's consistent.
Even if they self-correct, sometimes you get the ones that say it wrong. And
Right, and that's where you'll have to decide at your district. Like in my classroom, correct. If they self-correct, then that's not counted against them. But you have to make that clear right from the beginning, and everybody at your at least grade level have to be doing the same thing.
But what if she doesn't know whether I got it wrong or not?
That's why some people say, let's just count how many words they decoded. That's something you'll have to decide, and it's per grade level. Maybe my kinders, I'm just going to have them pointing to certain things, but maybe my 8th graders, they should know this by now. You'll notice that, let me borrow your paper, at the bottom of all the Read Naturally, there is a level. So let's say I'm going to use this maybe with my 6th graders, but it's a 4th grade. Okay, I want them to make sure they have correct words, right? So again, that's a decision you're going to make as a resource teacher. Are they going to practice with something 2 grade levels below, at grade level, a grade level ahead? You have that option. You decide. In my classroom, it was 2 below, only because I had the newcomers and I wanted to build their confidence. And so that was my decision. So whatever you decide, you have the power to make that decision. What are you going to give them? We're talking about building fluency, automaticity. We're not necessarily teaching them right now actual decoding skills. What do they already know, and can they go a little faster?
And you might have to differentiate. Like if you have a class that's like
Right.
this, I have a class like that now where I had a couple of kids that are like reading at second grade level. I have my fourth grade level reading, and then I have like sixth grade level. So, you have to kind of differentiate within your class,
And
too.
you'll have all of them. So again, in my classroom, I had, here's for my group that are reading at this level, and I would assign, and they went to their folder, they got it, they sat down, they went back.
So in the packet that you're providing, you're giving us all the levels.
All the
All the
levels,
levels.
from TK all the way to 8th grade, so you decide. And the resource teachers that are here, for TK, I know it'll come up. Something as easy as there's a box of crayons. Here are the color words. See if you can match them in a minute. How many can you? Shapes. Because some of our kids can't read letters and sounds yet, so. Okay. So ready? You've decided. What's the consensus? Are you going to mark errors?
No. Word count.
Word count? If in your class you're going to mark errors, I would have my students.
How are you going to do it? You're
put
going
an
to
X.
check off each word they read correctly? Is that how you do it?
In my class, what I did is every time they read something correct, I didn't mark it. If it was incorrect, I marked it. Right. Yeah, and you can decide. In my class, in order to save paper, because we're only given half a ream for the year.
Half a ream for the year.
Seems like it.
I know.
On Monday, they would use a red crayon. On Tuesday, they would use a yellow. Same piece of paper. So I only had to make one copy. Some teachers, they go and buy more cases of paper and use a different one every day. I'm a poor teacher. I just got different colors.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the question I was just going to ask them. You're saying they're a different story every day? They're reading
No.
different stories.
No.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
This story is for 1 week.
So can you change, like the first day?
You want to be consistent with the first story. You're going to practice it Monday, Tuesday,
No.
Wednesday.
What I mean is the way you grade it, you could change the next day. Like the
The
first
next-
day you only count. Second day you start counting instead.
That's you decide how you want to do it. You decide how you want to do it. Because the first assessment's going to be your pre-assessment. The last one will be your post. It should be the same. Otherwise, you're not comparing the same thing. So that's something you might want to talk about and decide how you want to do it. Okay, so once you've decided how you're going to grade, ready? I'm going to 1 minute. We know who's listening and we know
you're
who's
gonna
counting.
read,
Ready?
And then I'll
go.
just count.
Okay, stop. That wasn't a minute, that was 30 seconds. We're fast, okay? So you would time 2 for us, for just practicing. So what you're going to do at the bottom, you'll notice at the bottom, it gives you number of words and then the errors, and then you can calculate how many words. This is just for practice so you can get an idea, and then you can tweak it however you need to tweak it for your class. And if your students need a bigger paper, I provided on your drive. You should have it on your packet. The number of words read, you subtract the mistakes. That's your words correct per minute. Use it, don't use it. Okay, so once you've done that, you let your friend know, your partner, you read 5 words a minute, and you only had 1 mistake, so therefore you had 4 correct, or just 4 words, 5 words. You decide how you want to do that. Then the next minute, now B is the one marking A's paper. We don't have to practice that. Does that make sense? Okay. Now if you would look at your packet, and this will be on your drive, you have this graph. So they have to graph it. The cold read's the first read. They naturally suggest that you color it blue. So if I read 10 words, I'm going to up to 10. Then I'm going to write down the number of words. If I had any mistakes, what's the difference? This can also be tweaked for your district. All of this can. Then on Friday or Thursday, whatever your last day is, hot read, you're reading it again, and what's the difference? Hopefully you gained 2 or 3 words. As you're reading this during the week, you can see now that was all day 1. Day 2, then you start talking about some of the questions that are on the back, and they're not here for the students. The students won't get them. There are questions that pertain to the story, how many inches, and they're there. But I think the power is to have the students come up with the question. So I give them a minute and say, come up with a question that can be answered by the information that's here. And then they just share that out.
And that's hard.
That is
I mean,
hard.
having them come up with a question, they don't know how to form questions. Sometimes
Right.
they get stuck. So you might have to do a model of one, saying, okay, this is what this says. One question I would ask is, what is the story
But in the
about?
packet you're receiving, you have the questions for the teacher. Sometimes we just don't have time, and they're there for you. So they're discussing. Then day 2, they practice again. A, B, they don't graph, they just practice. They may graph if you have this, but they're not going to color the big graph. And there are 3 different graphs, some that go up to 50, some that go to 250, and some that go to 500. So you can use them with whichever level. Okay, day 3 again, you're practicing and you're talking about more questions. Now you're looking for, we've been studying past tense verbs. Are there any past tense verbs in this? So now I can get grammar in. Are there any pronouns? Are there any, so see how I can bring in whatever with the same passage. Okay, then the 4th day, so you continue that day 2, day 3. The 4th day, now that's the day. That's called the hot read. You're going to write it and graph it. I know it sounds really complicated, but it's there. And the students, after a while, they get the routine and they know right away. Mine, as soon as they walked in, they'd grab their folder, sit down. By the time I took roll, they were ready to go. One, so no time wasted. But again, that's something you need to figure out for your district, for your site, for your grade, what will work best. So that's fluency. Now, if you have, and I want you to see the paper I distributed the first time, you have the levels there for you. So, you should have this graph. Okay, you have this chart. It's on the back of, I think, the ladybird. Do you see it? The lesson plan, sorry.
Oh, the lesson plan. Okay.
Your passage, and I'll show it to you in a minute, that has to do with electricity, that's teacher-created materials, has a little icon at the beginning of each of the passage. So you might want to write this down. If it has, so the first lesson is what is electricity. If you use the passage that's on page 1, that's a 6th grade passage. That's about a 6th grade level. And I'll show it to you in a minute so you can see what I mean, but I want you to write this down. If there's a triangle, that's about 7th and 8th grade. There's a square, it's 4th and 5th. There's a circle, 3rd grade. If there's a star, 1st and 2nd, but as a read aloud. So you're not going to let them read you shouldn't let them read it independently. It's going to be too difficult for them. So as a read aloud. So let me review it again. If you go with what's in the information, as is, it's about 6th grade level. If you go to the reading passage that has a triangle, and I'll show you where all that is in a minute, that's 7th through 8th grade. Square has 4th through 5th. Circle, 3rd. And the star is about 1st, 2nd grade. Okay? So if you notice in the lesson plan, there's a square right there. So what grade level is that? Right. And again, if you have 5th graders, you know they're not reading and you want reading at that level and you want to use the passage just for 3rd graders, you can keep the same lesson plan, but which icon would you use for 3rd grade reading level? Circle. And let me show you where those are so you can, now that you understand the coding. If I can see, I left my other glasses. The steps, again, change them as you need. What was nice for me, day 1, I would just have up for the students when they walked in case they forgot what to do 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And you have the graphs, 50, so maybe with your TK Kinder, 250, 3rd, 4th, and then 500. And if you want to change that and go all the way to 1,000, you can edit it.
Wow.
You can change it.
If they're reading 1,000 words a minute, that's pretty.
Yeah, you know. Okay. And then how to your words correct per minute. So all of that's there for you. Go into what you will see in your packet. You'll see here's electricity. Here's lesson 1. Can you see this? Is it too small?
Can you guys see it okay?
Does it need to be bigger? You can see it, but you can't read it. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
See, I'm blind. I can't even see it here. So you'll have the teacher lesson. All this is lesson 1. Wow. Information for the teacher in case you don't like science and you don't know anything about electricity. Here's some information for the teacher.
Kind of front loading the teacher.
Right.
There.
And then here's yeah, some of us, I forgot stuff. I forget. Safety things about electricity, vocabulary words that might be something you want to go over, facts about electricity. So all of this is on there for the teacher. And then here's the actual activity. It tells you, again, what materials you'll need. In this section, what they're going to learn. The procedure for it. Oh, look, my hand came out. The procedure for it. Keep going. Okay, here's the next experiment. Same idea. All of these things are in your drive. So page 11, I'll show you where that is, and the internet options, I'll show you where that is. So these are all for the teacher, and it says TE. Then you have, this is what all the practice for the students, for you. This is what the students will get if you want them to, or just show it to them over with the projector.
Will you have access to your smart boards? Okay, good. Because
So
this
that'll
is
save
perfect for the
paper.
smart, yeah, it'll save a lot of paper.
A lot of paper.
With that. So if the resource teachers just want to give you guys a thumb drive of certain things, because it's a lot of paper to copy.
A lot of paper. So when you go into electricity level text, here's where I was talking about. So here's the circle one. Which one is circle? Which grade level? Right. Okay, then, so that's passage 1, lesson 1. Here's the square. So you can decide ahead of time what passage to use with them.
Once you know who your students
Once
are.
you know, right, and you don't have to stay there. Let's say you start with something easy and you realize this is too easy. Next lesson, I'm going to bump it up. Or maybe the next day, you read this. Let's read it again with different words, with different academic vocabulary. If you wanted to use this, you're not a Read Naturally school, and you wanted to use this for their fluency, they could, for a minute, where do they stop, count the words, and there you have your passage. So you don't have to worry about it. You've already copied this for the students. You don't have to copy anything else. Okay, and again, they're all here. Triangle, all of them are there. Also, you have the assessments. There are some assessments after a lesson. You don't have to do these at all. These are the assessments just for that lesson. But it's a good way to have maybe a ticket out the door. Have these in little cards even, or play, what's that, vocabulary? Jeopardy. Jeopardy with these questions. They're there for you. You also have, there are some cards that you can use with the students, and it tells you which lesson, so it demonstrates. You don't have to go looking for pictures of anything. And you have the handbook again, page 11. Remember we saw that for the students? Here it is. There's page 11. The level text. Here are some resources. You'll see that it'll say an atom, a picture of an atom. So it's under teacher resources. And then there are some video clips. And it's explained in the lesson plan. Again, a circuit. It's nothing fancy. It's just, that's a circuit. It's not going to do anything else but show you a circuit. Okay, electricity. And if we had sound, you could hear it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are the people from science going to be out there again?
The gems.
The gems,
and-
yes.
Yes, yes.
Gems
Right.
are going to be out
And
there
they will
as well.
be using some of these experiments, and some of the ones that we don't get to, they'll also be using those. So let me show you what I mean. If I can find it. Would have helped if I used my other glasses. Huh? Oh.
Do you need help? Let me help you.
Oh, I added for some of you, if it's electricity, you don't have to go looking for them. So I found 3 YouTube. They're there already for you. You don't have to go on the internet. Found them for you. And I taught with Bill Nye, the science guy, videos. Okay. So those are there for you.
I love YouTube. Does everybody have access to YouTube? Yeah, I know Greenfield does, but all the other districts?
Right. So now you don't have
Yeah.
to worry. If you don't have access, I've given it to you.
Yeah.
It's there. You don't have to worry about the internet. You don't have to worry about permission. It's there. Okay? And I don't see the lessons now. In your lesson plans, here they are. We go all the way to lesson 5 in the lessons that we set up for you. But let's say you have a group of kids that just go through it really quickly. They know the vocabulary, and you're like, day 2, I finished all 20 days worth of work. Just in case, here are some more. It's the rest of the book. Because you do have access, your district, either you did, your resource people, or Phil bought these for you, so they're there for you. So all the experiments, all the information, you can just drop them into the days. You know, they finished really quickly. So, any
So
questions
you're not
about-
going to run out of things to do.
No, you won't.
You're going to have more than enough
Right,
of things
you
to
won't.
do. Yeah.
Okay, the other, did you want me to go ahead and go into Ames?
Yes.
Okay. But some of them, I would give this experiments to the students. Say, this is what it says. Let's see what you can do. And you're the resource. It says to connect. How are we going to do that? I don't know. Figure it out. Let's see what you can think of. So if you do everything for them, let them blow up the school.
Blow up the school.
Let them do it. We're going to walk through an actual Ames lesson, okay? Use this one. This happens to be 5th grade, but there's one for everyone. And I made copies for you. So let me show you how this is set up. And again, don't run all this off for them. Have them make some of the charts. Have them use scratch paper. The more time they invest in the actual activity, the more they'll get out of it. So if you make the whole packet like I'm giving you,
there's 5 there,
it just goes somewhere else. And you'll see how. So that's why I wanted to walk you through this. In your drive, what's nice, and this is set up almost like the teacher-created materials. I'm going to make this right there. There, yay. As you're going over there, it'll give you the title. So I've written the title in the lesson plan and told you the page numbers and the topic. So in order for it to match, there's the title, the topic. One year I wrote all the dates on there, and then people changed it and they couldn't find it, so I didn't put dates on it this time. It's just the title. Hopefully that will make it easier. You have your Common Core standards. What's nice is that you have a teacher to help you. Yeah. So you have a setup, there's an echo, that will explain and it tells you how much time. This is for you, the teacher. It'll explain the why of the activity. It'll tell you what exactly to do. Then you have what materials are needed before you begin, if you have any setup to do, how you should group the students. These are ideas again, suggestions. And then do this. So if you're not sure, well, what are they talking about? Again, you click it. They're going to walk through all the steps of do this.
How does height compare to the circumference of your head? To answer this question, your students will begin by first making a prediction. It can be tough for them to visualize.
So if you wanted a demo and we just can't be there, or somebody brand new, here it is with this experiment, with this activity, because it's math. So all of these steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, are on the video for 2.39 minutes. It's there for you. You have the ask these questions, you have a journal prompt, and then you have all these worksheets. The worksheets, I ask the questions, they write it in their journals. So I don't have to run everything off, but I can show it to them. So what they're going to do is they're going to estimate their height and then compare that to the circumference of their head. It goes through everything they're going to do. They graph it. And can't you see you could do this with just chart paper and graph it? You don't have to run this off. Then the average, the circumference, height per student, and then they ask these questions. These are the ones to me that are the most important. Here's where we're going to have them rehearse the information orally. So I sometimes will print this or have them write it out on chart paper, and these are the questions we're going to need to be able to answer at the end of the activity. So as we're doing this and you think you have an answer, go up and write your guesstimate, your estimate, your whatever you want to call it, about what pattern did you notice during this activity. So they can start writing their notes down, or even on a sticky note. If you think you have an answer for this, go ahead and write it up. Then at the end, when we're talking about the results, okay, who wrote this sticky note? Do you want to ask the question or do you want me to? And here's where we're guiding and we're closing up. So this may take you a while, depending on the level of your students. But does that kind of make sense with AIMS? It's all there. If you need modeling, it models it for you, tells you what you need. But the main thing is not the activity, it's talking about the activity. What is helpful sometimes, because I have students who don't know each other, don't want to talk. I don't know if you ever had Kagan. I have them in groups of 4. Just put that in the middle. I'll get these back. These are. Remember, I only get half a ream of paper a year, so. And in groups of 4, so then this stays in the middle, and I just tell them now, talk to your partner A and your partner B. Talk to your face partner. Talk to your shoulder partner. I don't have to worry about, well, who's my shoulder partner, who's my face partner. It tells you right there. So you have an idea. This sets up my groups already. So they just sit in 4s, which is doable for chairs, and if you have desktops, they just move over. But have them answer the questions this way. They're having to talk first. To your across-the-table partner, to your face partner, to your shoulder partner. They've said it 3 or 4 times before they're going to share out with the class.
This page is part of the resources?
I can give you one. I can.
All of the activities pretty much are going to involve group work, a lot of talking. So when you set up your classroom, set it up to where it's in groups. Okay, so that way it'll be easier for them to talk. Because when they're reading, when they're writing, when they're doing fluency with the math, the AIMS, everything involves partner work. Okay, now, I sent her 2 different writings, and the one that they copied for us is the TKK. That is not for you. So I have this one. You should have had it tonight. The writing procedures. I have them up here on the overhead, okay? So let me walk you through with that. It's a 4-day front load information regarding writing, informative writing, okay? And then day 5 through 20, the cycle repeats. So it's a cycle of writing. So like on Monday, you'll do something. Tuesday, you'll do something. Wednesday, you'll do something. Thursday and Friday. The exception is week 1 because you're front loading a lot of what is informational text. So at the top, it'll say 1st through 8th. We already talked about the 1st, really. This is 2nd, okay? The first day, this is week 1, day 1. The objective for our students will be to learn the definition and purpose of informational writing. And students will use evidence from the text to support their informative writing. Students will write informative explanatory text in which they will name or introduce a topic, okay, support it with facts, definitions, and examples, and provide a closing. So really, okay, so if you're teaching 2nd grade, this is going to look like a paragraph. If you're teaching 3rd grade, it's going to probably be about 2 to 3 paragraphs. And 4th grade and above, you should have a full essay, 5-paragraph because that's what our standards are, okay? So, it's bothering me that I can't see the other side, sorry. Okay, so day 1, you're going to give a pre-test, and we're going to talk about the assessment. I'm going to show you the pre-test in just a minute. You have a pre-test and you have a post-test for writing. And it's very simple. We try to simplify it for you so that we don't have to have rubrics and all of that. So they're just going to, it's going to be answering questions and different things. So on the first day, these are the things you're going to do. I ordered chart paper because I want you to have this up. Those of you who know me, I'm a chart paper person. I do everything on chart paper. The first day you're going to you could see it, it's really big. Okay, your paper, you're going to title it Informational Explanatory Writing, okay? And then you're going to write the components. So the purpose of informational writing is to inform the writer. So right here I wrote it, informs the reader, okay? Another word for informs is tells somebody, tells about. If they don't understand inform, I want informed used because that's our academic word, but if they don't understand it, if we have EL students, then other ways you could say inform. Okay, tell me about it, okay? It answers the questions who, what, where, when, and how. And that's very, very important for it to be posted because when we go to take the article apart, these are questions that we're going to be asking them to extract information from them. It uses facts, definitions, details, examples, okay? There are various types of informative text. It could be in the form of an article, a report, a biography, and so on, okay? And it is a nonfiction piece of writing, okay? So these are the components of informational text. Okay, so on day 1, you're going to be front loading up. Okay, where are we going? This is where we're going. This is informational text. I wrote it all for you here. Okay, you will have the opportunity to make the chart here and take it with you if you want to. Okay, once you've front loaded them on that, now we're going to say, okay, that's what it has. Now these are the components of what a writing should have. It should have a topic, sentence, / introduction, just depending on your grade level. It should have details, facts, at least 3, okay? At least 3. And it doesn't matter what grade, because here, where there is 3 facts, maybe for the second graders, that's going to be a sentence per fact. Maybe for the upper grades, 4th and above, that's going to be a paragraph per fact, okay? And then you're going to use race. What does it stand for? Some of you have heard it. It's read the question, answer the question, and cite evidence, okay? To support facts, details, and then your conclusion, okay? That's another chart paper that you can have. Then I have race here as a chart paper as well. And I also have it on your handout. It's just not as delineated as my paper is. So once you front load them on the information, okay, in the informational writing, then you're going to do you're going to be doing a lot of think alouds. You do that already probably in the classroom. And so you're going to say, okay, so electricity is created. Let me think, how is electricity created? Okay, so that's going to be your topic. And so then you're going to say today, so then you debrief, okay? You're going to stop at introducing that information. We are not using race yet. You're just saying, okay, this is how electricity is created. So you're going to kind of do a think aloud. You're modeling the think aloud for them, okay? Then, this is the first week. Day 2, teacher begins by reviewing the chart paper, which is your informational text, these 2 charts that you wrote. Okay, and then teacher reads the sample writing from the previous day. Electricity is created by, and how is electricity created? And you brainstorm with your kids and you write that information. This doesn't have to be an elaborative writing. This is just to allow you to do that think aloud. Let me think. Electricity, I think, is created when, this happens.
And remember, by now they've read the first passage on electricity.
Yes.
So they've had that little bit of informational text that they're going to be writing about. So it's not just out of the blue saying what's electricity.
And that's
They've read it
why we had the writing come right after the reading. That way they don't forget the information. Because you didn't want to do the aims in between and then go back to the writing and then they've forgotten, their article. Then the third step here is, so then you're going to tell them this writing is informative writing because it informs us how electricity is created. Okay, so you kind of reiterate. You're always, telling them this is going to inform. It is not telling a story because oftentimes they want to tell you a story. That's narrative. That is not informational text. It is giving us information about electricity. And then we are going to practice answering what, where, when, why, and how. Okay? Who can tell me what we are talking about? So here's one example. And so example, students would answer, what is it that we're talking about today? Electricity is what we are talking about today. Okay, that's our topic. Who can tell me where electricity happens? Okay, electricity happens in our homes when we turn on the television. Okay, and so who can tell me why we need electricity? And so you're just kind of going through the questioning of it and an example so that they can know what to look for. So this first week is going to be laying the foundation so they know where they're going first before you get them to write, to start writing their own informative writing. And then day 3, you're going to go back and teacher talk. Yesterday we talked about answering questions, what, where, when, and why, and how, when we write informational text. What else do you remember about informational writing, okay, or text? So, this is kind of where you're brainstorming with them. Now we're going to read the article, What is Electricity? And teacher, so you've already read this article, but during the reading time, you're going to read it again. Question?
It just sounded like we were just going to start.
No, because the writing comes after the reading.
Right.
So you will have had your fluency, you will have had your reading time, and then comes the writing.
Right.
Okay?
That's
and
why-
if you decide at any time to change the schedule, which, you can, if, according to your what am I trying to say? Your district, just make sure that the writing comes after the reading. You need to have that, okay?
And that's why if you wanted to use that passage, electricity, for fluency, they've read it maybe 2 or 3 times before they get to this. And you've already given them a copy, so you wouldn't have to copy anything else.
Teacher and students read the article 2 or 3 times and underline information. Teacher asks what, where, when. If you didn't underline the information when you read it, this is the time where you're going to go back and underline keywords, facts, and information. And it's been my experience with my 4th graders that it doesn't matter if I've read it 5 times. They still, if we keep reading it, it's okay because they gain something else the next
Every time.
Okay? And so then you're going to ask the question, what component of informational writing do we see in this article? So you want them to say, well, I see facts about electricity. Okay? Teacher will reverse map the story, and I'm going to show you how. Teacher will use the attached flow map. So in your packets, under the writing, you're going to have a flow map that you can use this is like my favorite flow map that I have, that I use in my classroom. And I call it a flow map, but you have this in your drives, and you're going to have it. I'm going to show you how I've taught my students to create this without having to run it. But if you need to run it, here it is. You're going to use this for the reverse mapping, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and you're going to use this for their pre-writing. Okay? So on the top, you will have the topic sentence. Okay? Now, the only thing that will be complete sentences on this page is your topic sentence and your closing. On here, you're going to have keywords. Okay? Do you see this fat space right here? Those are transition words that they will be adding. In your drive, you have a list of transition words. You have this map, you have these directions, and then you have proofreader marks as well. Okay? So you're going to have everything there that you need. All right. So once you have done the reverse mapping on this map, you're going to just walk through the facts, the conclusion, and this writing has the components of informational writing. We will write our own informational writing tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to stop there before we go into the writing. So right now, what have we done so far? We've done the front loading on what is informational text. We did the components of what informational text is, right? Okay. And let me show you a way that you can do it in your classroom. I like to keep everything together in my classroom. So we are working with, we have electricity as one of our units and magnets. And this is the way I use it in my classroom. I have the vocabulary that we front load, that I front loaded to them and we talk about it. Our first lesson had electric charges and static electricity, okay? And then inside here, we wrote down what the definition is, okay? And then a little example, like a little tree map or a diagram of what it is. That's what I was going to say. You can use this with the reading, okay? But I'm getting to, if you don't want to use it with the reading, you're just doing the writing. Okay, here is a reverse map, okay? And what I did is I took a full sheet of paper, and it's exactly what this one is. Where did I put it? I lost it already. Here it is. It's what this is, okay? And how did I have them? All I did is I had them folded like a shutter, like this, okay? Folded like a shutter, and the reason I have them folded like a shutter is so that they can leave room for the top. Because you know students are going to draw a tiny little rectangle here and little, lines over here and a tiny little rectangle. So I have them folded like a shutter, and then I have them open it, and at the top they draw the big rectangle, and then I have them draw a big rectangle here and divide it into 3, and then the rectangle at the bottom. So that is pretty much what this is, okay? And then to do the reverse mapping, okay, we read the article and we read our book about static electricity. And the question is, and you will have a question too, like the first one for you is, how is electricity created, okay? This one is how charges behave, okay? So at the top of this is my reverse map. What a reverse map does is it takes the information from the text that you have, and it serves as a model for the writing. So what you do is you extract from the reading the information so that when they go to write, they have that as a model. Okay? So really, it's a great way to improve comprehension as well. Okay? And it's a great way to see a good modeled writing from an article, an author, a text. So how charges behave. So here it says atoms, they're tiny. So these are the 3 things that the article, that the first lesson talked about. They're tiny particles, they carry electric charge, positive or negative. Remember that the only complete sentences on this chart are here and here. These are keywords. Okay? All right, then the next one is objects with charge can repel. With different, they attract. Okay? And then static electricity. What is that? Static, it builds up on objects. Okay? And then the conclusion. So then I said, okay, based on all of this information, what conclusion can you draw? And so they talked in groups. You're going to have them talk and say, what conclusion can you draw from this article? It doesn't have to mean that they have to draw the conclusion that the article says. They can come up and form their own conclusions. Electric charges behave in different ways. Some attract, some repel, and some build up on objects. Okay? And this is your reverse map. This is information that was taken directly from the text that you read. Okay? And this is what you will be doing on one of the days. Okay? Is it clear on how reverse mapping works? Okay? And you have this, or you can do it this way, and afterwards, if you want to take pictures of this, you may. If you want to, pretty much it's just a little shutter. Okay? Okay, so we're still I'm still front loading them on informational writing, the components. And then, we're going to start now. So, the debrief, today we learned. Day 4, this is week 1, okay? The writing prompt is, what is electricity? Use the flow map. Let's write a topic sentence about what electricity is. Teacher and students work together. Students discuss what electricity is. This is only day 4. You're still doing a lot of modeling, okay? Analyze the passage and use RACE. Restate the question, answer the question in all its parts, cite evidence from the text, and explain the evidence. Write your evidence and elaborate. Use quotation marks where needed to cite directly from the text. You may also summarize and use your own words to write the information. And then conclude your paper with a strong ending, such as answer to the question, restate the topic sentence and use a synonym for one of the words, or finish the piece with a thoughtful quote, maybe something directly from the article. Okay? All right, so this is day 4. So on day 4 now, I'm taking them over here, and as you can see, they drew another one. They drew another little flow map, okay? So I've taught my students how to fold them and how to draw them, anything to not have to copy, okay? And this time they write the question here, how charges behave, okay? This one was my reverse map. Now here, I have them go back and read, and I said, okay, now, for each thing, here we're talking about atoms, here we're talking about the charge, and here we're talking about static energy, electricity. I want you to go back into the text and cite, at least find one quote. You can write the page number, or where you found it, or the paragraph number, or whatever it is, and then you're going to, or you can write the quote here, okay? Now for this, I've already taught my students how to, where is it? Race, over here, okay? So this is when I suggest you make a chart on this, okay? And so here it says what it is, but then you might want to give them ideas on how to cite it. They need these on page blank, comma, it said, and then open quote, what did it say? And you're going to teach them to use the quotes. In the text, it states, here is something, teach them, that's a summary. You're going to put it in your own words, but you're referring to the text, okay? An example is, so this is an example of it, according to, and I've taught my kids to say, according to such and such author, it says, so that way they can, they're learning how to state it from there. And then the illustration shows, because sometimes the picture shows a better example than the words. And then based on the text, okay, and the list can go on. These are not like, but these are some that I've seen on the Common Core sample questions that we've been doing, the modules that I've been working on. And these I extracted from them because these are some examples that they use that I think will help them make it easier for them to cite evidence, okay? So if you want to take a picture of this or if you want to make a chart, again, that's going to be available for you after. So these are 3 charts that I highly recommend you have in your classroom. Here is an example of me modeling it, and this is the reverse map. And this is lesson 1, okay? And then how charges behave, atoms, the objects, the static electricity, and then the conclusion. And this is taking, as we're reading, we're taking information. We read the article several times. You have to read the article several times to be able to come up with this. You have to read the article again to be able to come up with the quotes, the page numbers, and everything. So it's going to take you all week. Okay?
Each of those boxes
is a fact. You have your introduction / topic. Here you have fact, detail, examples, and then conclusion. Okay? All right. On day 4, Then on this day, this is still day 4. After you do all of that, they write it out. You're going to edit, revise. It might go on to the next day because I was trying to fit everything into the 5 days because you want to get all the modeling done as much as you can. Okay, but you have day 5. If you need day 5 is a publishing day. If you have access to computers and you want them to type the piece, that's a way of publishing. If you want them to stand in front of the class and have them read it and practice their expression, intonation, and all of that, that's another way of publishing it. If you want them to make it into a little book so they have a book about this specific lesson, electricity, then that's another way of publishing. If you just want them to rewrite it in their neatest handwriting, then that's another way of publishing. There's a lot of different ways you can publish your work at the end. Okay, any of those would work. My class right now is because we got the Chromebooks. Finally, we have Chromebooks one-to-one, and they're very excited about using Google Slides. So that's how they're publishing their work. So it just depends what you have available. You may use a foldable, and what we call foldables are like where I put the vocabulary. The little shutter, that's a foldable, and they can make those as well. Okay. And present to the class, okay? Then this is going to be week 2, and this is going to be your cycle, okay? The next 3 weeks will be cycles. Students will use the reading passage to write, okay? The reading passage, that's very important. It goes with the writing, okay? For the student to improve in the amount of writing is grade level appropriate. First, second grade should have a well-developed paragraph. Third grade should have at least 3 paragraphs. I kind of already said this. And 4th through 8th, you should have an essay consisting of at least 5 paragraphs, okay? As well as in the quality of the writing. For students to use, these are our goals for these weeks. For the students to use a model text to write their own text, okay? So they have a model text that they're going off of, which is the reading. For students to use evidence from the text and incorporate it into their own writing. That's your race that I talked about, okay? Incorporating your evidence. So day 1, you're going to reread the story. I should put reread instead of read because you will have already read it. Teacher and students read the article about electricity. They read it 2 or 3 times, so an underline, front load vocabulary, all of that was done through reading. If you didn't finish that through reading, this is a time you can finish, okay? And then you can put it, the foldable, you can make it into a journal, that's what I did, and put the vocabulary for that specific lesson on one of the little foldables, which is what I did. I go lesson by lesson, okay? And then day 2, you're gonna reverse map. What does that mean? What does reverse map mean? And it's going to be, that's going to serve as your model. And so that's going to serve as what has all of the components of the informational text, okay? So you can start at the top with the question. All of your articles begin with pretty much a question. What is electricity? Okay, what is magnets? What are atoms? Okay, and so on. Teacher will model extracting important information by reverse mapping the article read and pulling out the key information and writing it on the map. Key information are your facts, your details. Teacher and students will analyze text and pictures to see if it matches. Okay, so if there's pictures on the text, you want to make sure that it matches. Day 2, teacher models the writing. So you're going to be the first writer, okay? Teacher will model the writing, and you can start with that map that I gave you, the flow map, okay? And you can make it big. You saw how I did it on mine. I have it on a chart paper, so everybody sees it. And so, for examples, electricity, start with atoms, think aloud. And again, you're thinking aloud, doing a lot of think alouds. The book said that, blank, so I will write blank. So I gave you kind of a little frame for think aloud. And then teacher may also model the illustrations that go with the writing. If you feel that the illustrations are important, for me, I'm a visual learner, and illustrations are important, especially because I'm teaching electricity, and out of all of the science units for 4th grade, electricity is one of my least favorites because I'm not wired to think that way. I love the rock cycle and I love ecosystems and all of that, but electricity is like, I'm not mechanical, so it's hard for me to get into it. So I always draw pictures because that's how I check myself. So if you need to draw the pictures, go ahead. If you need to show the pictures or cut and paste pictures, do whatever it is that you need to do to get the concept across. And then on day 3, students will begin their pre-writing. They will have the flow map and they will start their writing. And then so the cycle begins and they should have a topic sentence, and this is where I showed you. Now they're doing the writing, and so this is the stage where they're at. They're writing it, and now you're saying, okay, the first thing we're talking about is we're going to talk about atoms, okay? All right, now where in the article does it say? Now show me one evidence from the text. And you don't have to quote each time. You can summarize. So you can say, in the article it states. But you can't just say in the article it states such and such. Now you have to, in your own, with your own knowledge, defend it. Okay, what is it? Why is that important? Okay, so they're writing, these for 4th through 8th, each will be at least 5 sentences, okay, including the quote. Okay, so that's the pre-writing, and that's day 3, okay? And then day 4, they drafted, edit, revise, and you have revision marks, and you might need to show them which transition words to use, because you want them to use transition words when appropriate. And then again, day 5 is your publishing. You always have that day to publish and do the activities. If one week you typed it, maybe the next week you're going to make a book or a foldable or whatever it is. And then you only have 2 more weeks after this to repeat the cycle. That goes with the reading. Okay? And so this activity, have you guys heard of? It's a combination of different research out there. Of course, selecting evidence from the text, and also the writing. What is it called, Teresa? I have the book. E-writing or I-writing? I-ready? I-ready. Okay, the writing component that goes with it, I've used in my class, and some of it goes in this order. But what I really liked about that, it's very time-consuming to do all of the lessons in the classroom. They're very good lessons. But the one thing that I picked up from it is the reverse mapping is so powerful. It has really helped my students comprehend because you're taking it apart and then constructing it again. It's like a puzzle. You take it all apart, you put it back together, take it apart, put it back together. And one of the things that students really connected this year was, oh, the reading is not completely different from the writing. They go together. The reading and the writing are reciprocal of one another. Okay, they undo each other just like division and multiplication. Okay? Okay, so that is your lesson plan. You have it all written down. Okay? And I could go through and do a model for you. The next... No. You need a break? I just got going. Okay, break. 15 minutes. I get excited when I'm talking, Mary Lou. That's okay.